All right, everyone, it is episode time. And this is with a new guest, Kylie, who's here to speak about swinging and also non-monogamy, but the swinging life. And one reason why, and we shared this a little bit in the intro, why this is enticing to us to share with our listeners. Well, one, swinging is actually quite popular, or people are very curious about that, or about threesomes or non-monogamy, or exploring outside of just having sex or intimacy with one person. Also, a lot of the swinging world tends to be folks that are maybe 40 and up. And it's not that people aren't swingers who are 20. It just seems like a lot of the people that are speaking to it, at least from what I've seen or heard, are more in the 40 and up world. So Kylie here is a millennial. Welcome, millennial Kylie, to our show, who is in the swinging world and swinging life and has her own podcast and, is a sex worker and is doing her own work and is also an activist. So we shared a little bit about you, Kylie, in our intro, but can you please tell our listeners about how you got to where you are today in the field of sexuality?
I made the decision when we started swinging. So we started swinging about 2 years ago, me and my partner. And I thought it would be like this great idea to like go on TikTok and talk about it. And I was kind of naive because I didn't realize that there was going to be so much like backlash. I was just like, I love this. I'm happy. I want to share my bliss with other people. So I got lucky because I was like one of the first ones to the party.
Mm-hmm.
No one was talking about swinging. Now they were talking about non-monogamy and like polyamory sense, but no one was talking about swinging. And so I got lucky and I gained a following really quick. I resonated with a lot of people. So yeah, that's kind of how I started. And then it's just been a whirlwind from there. I met a ton of amazing other creators as well from all around the country. And we kind of just built this community around it. We built a community around helping people get into the lifestyle, especially people my age who are younger, who are very confused about what non-monogamy and swinging is.
Mm-hmm. And how old are you? Because we have had swingers before on the show, and they're usually older, and I'm 40, so I don't want to consider myself older. However, that is the case. It's like 40 and above. Amy mentioned that before we started recording, or maybe you said it when we have started recording, Amy, but no. Well, how old are you?
So I'm 31 and my partner is 31 as well.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And we started swinging when we were 28 or 29. Noise. So we were like, we're always the young ones.
I love it. Okay.
Well, say when you go to actual swinging, are you usually the youngest people at the swinging gatherings or parties?
When we first started, we noticed that we were, but I think because there is so much from social media in the past, year and a half, 2 years, there's so much surrounding it. I think younger and younger people are coming out as swingers. I do tend to see a lot that the Gen Z generation and then like the younger millennials and my generation, they don't want to be, they don't even want to consider themselves swingers. That word to them feels misogynistic. It feels, in a sense, biphobic because, they feel like it's a world that's dominated by men, which is actually, it's the opposite if they knew, but they don't want that connotation, that swinger connotation. So they're like, yeah, we're ethically non-monogamous, we're polyamorous, but we're not swinger. I've even seen in profiles on like SLS or SDC. So these are like swinging apps. We're not swingers, but we go to sex parties. I'm like, no, you're a swinger. If you are a swinger, it's okay.
That's kind of where I come to this conclusion too. I was like, no, I wouldn't identify as a swinger. And I like that you're reframing that label. And I think that's important because it's not a negative thing to be a swinger. It's not negative to be in the lifestyle community. So I love the reframing of that, and that it doesn't have to be an age-oriented facet of the community of sexuality, of the sexual world of pleasure. So how did you come to understand your experience of non-monogamy, which swinging is a form of non-monogamy, and bisexuality at such a young age in your late 20s? How did that come about?
So I actually came out as bisexual when I was 16 years old. So this was back in like 2007 or 2008, right? So like no one was bisexual then. Everybody, they looked at me and they were like, "You're not bisexual. You're a lesbian or you're straight. You just want attention." So that was kind of everyone's mindset back then. Like, and I just didn't care. So do you guys remember Craigslist?
Oh yeah. I still use it sometimes for buying things. I'll use it.
And there was the back pages or whatever.
I never used that one, but I love the back.
I didn't use it, but I looked at it. It was quite entertaining. And I do know people who did use Craigslist for dating or what was the one where it was Lost Encounters or like, hey,
that was it.
Yes. Hey, girl at the bar that I saw. Actually,
wearing the red dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a mutual friend, April. I'll tell you who she is later, who someone spotted her because she had specific tattoos and someone else saw that. And they're like, I think they're talking about you, but that's not available anymore, right? That's all been shifted and changed.
So I think with FOSTA, they actually got rid of all of that. But what I would do, and this was so unsafe, do not do this, please. Nobody listening do this. I would meet couples on Craigslist. So I would go on there and people would put up ads, young couples, maybe 18 to 24, and they would be like, "We're looking for a single female, bisexual to explore my sexuality." So, at like 16 and 17 years old, I would like sneak out and go downtown to downtown Cleveland because that's where I live. And I would like go meet with these couples. So like I was a unicorn and I was like, that's technically being in the lifestyle at a really, really young age. I just didn't know that there was like a name for it. And I didn't know that there was a community for it. So
that is super dangerous, by the way. There was a chick that was like in a basement for like 17 years in Cleveland specifically. Wow. Yeah. So holy shit. I'm happy that nothing bad happened to you and anyone out there listening. I think there's safer meetup places now. Okay, good. You can tell us about that later. Sorry. I'm like, no.
Safer options.
Protective mama over there. I love it.
Yeah, don't do that. Do not do that.
Well, one of our mutual friends that April and I have, one of the things that she would do with me when I was single, I don't know if she did this with you, April, was when I would go, we go out, if I was going to go home with a strange person, she would have me send a photo of their driver's license so that she's like, I want a photo of their driver's license to make sure that you're okay. Like, I'm not going to stalk them, but just I need to know who they are and what's going on. And I thought it was a great system. So anyways.
But what if they have a fake ID?
Ooh, then they're a real predator. And then
this comes from a person that watches too many crime shows. So do you need a social security number or maybe just the phone's tracking or maybe, yes, we need to up that background check.
I want all of it. Well, I love that you discovered this at such a young age, because I think for a lot of folks, to really tap into their expression of sexuality or their essence of sexuality, it often comes later because we're, as young people, especially in high school, and then even college, we're trying to like keep up with the norm and the standards. And I think that might be one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot more people coming out as kinky folks or as, swingers or non-monogamous folks in ages 30, 40, 50 and up, because they're a little more settled into like not listening to all the bullshit standards for the norm. So, okay, anyways, let's come back to swinging. What does swinging actually entail? And how does someone know if this lifestyle is for them?
So swinging, it's a very, very big generalization, right? So in my opinion, which I'm not an expert or anything, but it's whenever you have sex or you have a sex positive, environment outside of your relationship. So it's a form of ethical non-monogamy because we have like these umbrella terms for ethical non-monogamy. So we have an open relationship, we have polyamory, and then we have swinging. So those are like the three main ones. So what swinging is, it's just a sex positive environment. So you can be a hot wife. So a hot housewife.
You can be a hot, yeah.
But a hot wife is like, a wife who her husband enjoys like watching her or like hearing about her dates. You can be a couple that swings only with other couples. You can be a voyeur. So a voyeur is, a person who just likes to watch people having sex. You can be an exhibitionist, and that's somebody who likes to have sex in front of people. That's one of their kinks. So there's many different facets to swinging, but ultimately it's just a sex positive environment, especially at the events that we go to. It's definitely like the only rule really of swinging is, I would say, consent. And, everyone has to consent, and, that no one's cheating, right? So that it's ethical, it's consensual. And that's really the only rules. And that's what swinging is. Yeah. And then the second part of your question was, how does one get into it? Right. I get asked that a lot. Or how do you know you're a swinger? I would say it does take like a person who is sexually adventurous. And I think we all know that part within ourselves. If you're sexually adventurous or not, right? Like, if you're open, and you don't have to be bisexual. You don't have to be any of those things. You can just be a sex positive person. And I think that that's ultimately what makes a swinger, is like somebody who's curious about, seeing things, or being a part of maybe like an orgy, or maybe they have fantasies about seeing their wife with somebody else or their husband with somebody else, or maybe they just have fantasies about being with somebody else. But I think that having that talk with your partner and opening up to your partner about it is so important, because like, if you can't be open and honest with the person that you're married to, or the person that you're going to marry, or your boyfriend, like, who can you be open with, right?
But this is the thing. Yeah. Okay. What if you're with someone, or you're interested in this, and this isn't my question. This is a precursor to the question that I have next. But what if you're a jealous human, or you're with a jealous human? Is this something that you should avoid? Or is this something, because a lot can lie within jealousy. And if you're at this safe space and you're with people that are consensually swinging in an ethical way, and then you're going with your jealous partner who may or may not snap, is that a dangerous thing? Do you need to have some kind of conversation with them before experimenting in this realm?
Absolutely. So I think that holds a lot of people back, right? They always say to me, they're like, how do you deal with jealousy? I just couldn't do what you do. I would get so jealous. So I think that jealousy is a normal human emotion. We all feel it. I mean, it would be crazy for us to say that we've never felt that before. It would be crazy for me to say I've never even felt that in the lifestyle, because I have. But we have developed boundaries and rules, and that's kind of what makes swinging a little bit different from like an open relationship or like polyamory, is like, we're very much set in communication and boundaries, and doing things that like make us uncomfortable, and kind of working through that together, because jealousy comes from three places. Usually it comes from a childhood trauma. So if you're feeling like you're not good enough in childhood, then that's why we feel jealous when we're older. And unless we have to work on that. Our partner can't help us with that. We have to deal with that. So that's why I always recommend like therapy, or kind of dealing with your, childhood trauma in that sense. And then it also comes from our partner not giving us something that we need from them, right? So maybe our partner is flirting with other women, or, we see them looking at other women online, and that makes us jealous and not feel good about ourselves. So that's a conversation that you have with your partner, and you say, hey, you're not giving me this. I need you to flirt with me more. I need you to tell me I'm beautiful more. I need you to, you're seeking some sort of validation from your partner that you're not getting. And then another place that it comes from is like, if we're not feeling our best physically, right? Maybe if we feel like we have a little bit of extra pounds, or if we aren't working out or eating healthy, or, that's something to work on as well. Like you can fix those things. You can make yourself feel better about yourself just by making healthy choices.
So this kind of goes into the next question. And sorry, Amy, I know I want you to get to your question, but the fact is, dipping your toes into this, the top tips, it sounds like those are unilaterally building on one another. So what are your tips for dipping your toes into this world? Whether you're jealous or not, you might not be jealous. What do you think for anyone, for any age?
I would 100% say boundaries, talk with your partner, and communicate. Like that is the main thing, is just communicating with your partner and figuring out, okay, what do you want? What do we both want from this together? Why are we doing this? And then set those rules and boundaries. A lot of times in the beginning, like couples, they won't full swap. So full swap is
I was just
full
going to ask that. I
penetration.
literally just looked at my notes. I was like, oh shit, I need to ask about what full swap. What is a full swap?
Full swap is full penetration. So that's full on sex. And then soft swapping is anything but. So fingering, oral.
I love a good soft swap.
So, I mean, creating those boundaries and kind of understanding, you take things slow. Go to a sex club, go to a, kink club or, whatever around you, and watch and see how that makes you feel. And talk about that with your partner, those feelings that you had. And then maybe the next time you go and you talk to a couple, and then maybe the next time, you and that couple go into a room and you have sex in front of each other, like just take it slow and step by step. And that's those landmines that you're going to cross, because we all deal with it. If you're in the lifestyle, that's a part of it, but it's having a relationship that's strong enough to handle those landmines and knowing that you're getting in the lifestyle for the right reasons. If you can't stop cheating on your partner, don't get into the lifestyle. If you're not sexually attracted to your partner anymore and you want something else, don't get into the lifestyle. The lifestyle should be an enhancement for an already amazing and secure relationship. It's not something that's a Band-Aid or a fix.
Love that. I think that's really helpful. That was actually kind of our next piece about how swinging can go awry, but it sounds like you kind of already answered that about the hurdles and pieces or I guess the reasons why not to choose swinging, perhaps to consider. This is gonna be two questions, and they're gonna be separate from each other. One is a clarification about swinging, because I think that a lot of folks think that swinging is just for heterosexual couples. So it's cis man and cis woman. So question number one, does swinging apply to all orientations and genders? And then question number two is going to be completely separate. What if you choose swinging for the ethical reasons that feel really good for you, yet you come into the hurdles, the jealousy, the challenges? Like, what are some top tips for navigating those places?
So swinging is, especially, within the community that I'm building, it's 100% for all genders, all sexualities. I actually encourage LGBTQIA plus people to get involved, because I think that they don't feel as though that's a space for them, especially because you do have a lot of older swingers who maybe don't understand that. And I think it's education for them and acceptance for those older people, accepting others. And now we're seeing a lot more men, right, coming out as bisexual within the community. And we love that so much, because I think before they couldn't come out. They didn't feel like they could. They didn't feel like it was a safe space, because there is a lot of toxic masculinity and misogyny that is rooted within swinging, especially when you look at my sexuality. I'm bisexual. It's almost fetishized. It's like every woman who comes into the lifestyle, if she wasn't bisexual, when she started, now she is, because the men like to watch that. But maybe heterosexual men don't like watching other men with each other. So, I think that we're breaking, those are part of those stigmas that we're breaking, and part of those barriers that we're breaking. We want trans folks to know that, like, you can come to one of our parties and you're going to be accepted, and we're going to love you, and we're going to dance with you, and we're going to have a great time. And it's the same thing with, people who identify as lesbians and, gay men. It's the same thing. Like, we're going to have a blast with you, and we accept you, and we love you because we're inclusive. I want to make the lifestyle more of an inclusive space for people.
Love that. Yeah. When I think a lot of what I've seen is that, like, performative female, feminine, they're in the lingerie performing for the men, on like the cruise ships or various things. And, April and I've had some conversations with some folks who are kind of live in that realm. And that's been one of my reservations, I guess, around the swinging lifestyle, of feeling like it was designed more for the male gaze. So you're saying that doesn't have to be around that. There are communities that are that, but what you're creating and what you're seeing is a shift in that, and is something different.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Swinger Society community. So that's a community that we've built not only through Discord, but online. We have a space for those people, and we always let them know, like, you're safe here, because there are a lot of communities where they don't feel safe in the swinging community because of that. And so, I think as women, like, we're taking over the lifestyle. We're dominating it at this point. I love it.
So is there a difference? Because Amy's talked about sex parties and attending sex parties before, and there's a lot of consent and agreements that go into before training, almost before people attend these parties, as opposed to, so that's a sex party as opposed to a lifestyle party, a specific swinging party. And I don't know if sexual orientation is a difference within those communities, or if you have to show up as a couple. But do you have anything to say or add to anything that differentiates those two things? Are they the same or are they different?
So they should be the same. The only difference would be so they have specific swinger clubs. So in events. So you can be a swinger and you don't have to be coupled. And I think that that's a big misconception is everyone looks at swinging and they think it's couple to couple. So like there are single men, there are single females, because there is a valid place for them in the lifestyle, especially, people who are just seeking threesomes or hot wives. So there is a very valid place. It's just finding that, but they do also have like kink parties. And that's kind of, I think, where more consent comes in, right? Because kink and that sort of alternative lifestyle facet, does involve sometimes like something, bodily harm and physical stuff. So I think that that's more where the consent comes. But also those people tend to be anybody under the alternative lifestyle realm, kink, non-monogamous, swinging, they all tend to kind of be the same. And those spaces are open for swingers, just as though our sex clubs and our events are always open to those kinksters. And so I think that it all just kind of aligns together.
Yeah. The sex parties April's talking about, and we did an episode with them, the Bonobo Network is a very, very inclusive, but they do require I believe a 3-hour orientation online. That's very much about consent. And then when you go to a party, they do a whole consent talk to start with. And it's not necessarily all about kink, but there's like a dungeon or a kink space. So it really invites in these important conversations to happen beforehand. I have one other comment I want to make, actually, that we received this email recently, April, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but we did the episode, I think our last one was on cuckolding, right? And hot wifing.
Yes.
And I wanted to clarify that it just with that one, the person that wrote us to this person that is probably listening, they wrote that they're actually in the opposite role where their wife likes to watch them with other men. And
that's me.
That's you. You're right. Yeah. So it's not as widely talked about. It's usually more like, men wanting to watch their women with other women or other men, but there are women who want to watch their man fucking or get fucked. And you're one of those people. So awesome. Yes. Nice. Want to highlight that. And then just bring it back to this conversation about the hurdles. So say we do April and I are in a relationship. She loves when I do this. And we are going to our very first swinging party. And we do a soft swap. We're soft swapping because we want to start slow. And during the soft swap.
Not the hard swap. The hard swap's the fluids.
The full swap. That's full swap.
That's a full swap. Oh,
penetration.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Got it.
Hard swap's like, get it hard. I don't know. We just made that up. Yeah. Yeah. So we're soft swapping. So we're just doing like external fun play stuff with other people or in a threesome or whatever. And I get really triggered. I'm like, oh my God, I've never watched my dearest lover, April, who I love so much, being intimate with someone else. And I'm freaking the fuck out, but we're all having a good time. It looks like April's having a good time. What do I do? What do we do?
So before you and April get even into the lifestyle, what helps a lot of people is nonverbal cues or words, right? So safe words. Everyone's safe word is pineapple.
Pineapple! Banana hammock. Banana hammock's mine. So I'm good.
Well, this brings us to the is it upside down pineapple though? Because isn't that the swinger symbol?
I mean,
so I would be like upside down pineapple.
We still do the pineapple. Like every swinger I know, they just wear tons of pineapple because like I think it's like a pride thing. So yeah.
When I see people at weddings, I was just at a wedding and I met this completely straight hetero dude that was married for like 30 years. I was like with a pineapple shirt, and I was like, that's the swinger symbol for you're into swinging. He's like, what really? I was like, yeah, don't be ashamed. He was like, oh my God. I was like, he might have been, but I totally went up to him and said that. And I was like, but it actually, you should be upside down, but it's right side up. So we're cool. But he was like, I never knew. And he's like, I'm going to go home and Google this. So I was like, totally do it. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Kylie, but it was like so awesome because he was like, it was awesome. So thank you for honoring me in saying that too.
But yeah, so you're going to have a safe word, and in that situation, even if you're just like, I am so uncomfortable right now, I can't do this. And say that like me and my partner or the other couple, like we're going to understand that because we had already probably had a conversation knowing that this is your guys' first time at the club. Like we're very understanding of that. And, we would even help and walk you guys through that and walk you guys through some of the, I mean, this doesn't always happen, but like we like to help new couples and we like to talk to new couples about stuff because we have been in those situations. The last party we went to, literally that happened when we got into an uncomfortable situation and I had to give my partner the safe word and I was like, red light, like, and we had to get out of there because I was uncomfortable and like.
Is red light your safe word?
So we actually, the system that we have, it's red light, green light, yellow light. So like green light means hell yeah, we're doing this. We're loving this. This is amazing. And, I'm so excited about this, right? Yellow light means, ooh, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, but I'm okay right now. And then red light is like, nope, we got to get the fuck out of Dodge. Like we got to get out of here. So
and you red lighted. You were like, I'm fucking out. Yeah.
I'm lit.
Yeah. At first it was a yellow light and I was like, oh yeah, look at that yellow light over there. And no one thought anything of it. And then he whispered in my ear and he was like, okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to, cause it was a girl she was going down on me and her husband came over and was like trying to put his dick in my mouth. And I was like uncomfortable with that. I did not consent to that. He didn't ask me. He was not verbal about asking me that. So that made me uncomfortable. I didn't like that. I felt that was just not a cool move. Totally. So yeah,
that's not a cool move. This is what we need to talk about because that's important. So you red lighted. This is why a safe word comes up. You red lighted with your partner. And
and the dick in your mouth probably too. You're like, red light.
Like,
so did you say red light to the person that was trying to put his dick in your mouth? Or
I just moved away. So I like slyly moved away, and I was just like, and then I kind of pulled my partner to me so that he couldn't get near my face. Because there's that line when you're swinging, right? Because you don't want to hurt people's feelings and you don't want to make them feel bad about themselves. And rejection on either end sucks. So it's a lot easier for us to just get out of there and not really say anything and not really be like, hey, I wasn't attracted to you. I wasn't feeling you. Like it's a lot easier just to kind of be like, oh, hey, well, it was great meeting you guys.
But then but then there's one thing I will disagree in the sense that like they need to learn, right? Like and I'm not saying men, I'm saying people, people need to learn that if we don't have consent, even if we're at a sex party, does not mean you get to grab my breast, my ass, put your dick in my mouth, put your pussy on my face, grind your butt on my butt unless we've consented to that. And so I hear what you're saying because as April and I think we both identify as people pleasers, so we don't want to ruin, kill the mood or ruin the vibe. But if we actually don't say something like, hey, just so you know, just because your girl was going down on my pussy didn't mean that your dick could go in my mouth.
Right.
And you put your dick in my mouth. So I get the whole thing of like, we want to keep it, light and playful. But because how do they not leave and continue to put their dick in people's mouths who aren't going to say something?
No, you're absolutely
I don't
right.
want a strange dick in my mouth. So.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where that line is. And of course, I am very open on social media about these kind of stories because once I have a moment to look back on it, or just like when I told him that he could go and do whatever he wanted at the sex club and he got a blowjob from a unicorn. And after that, I cried for like 2 weeks and I'm like, yeah, this feels like you cheated on me, but I told him he could do what he wanted, so it's kind of those hurdles and kind of seeing, okay, how could I have done this better? And then also, how can I help people not make the mistakes that I make? And you're absolutely right. I should have, in that moment, instead of doing that and using that safe word, I should have just said to the guy, like, hey, sir, I don't want your dick in my mouth. And please ask me, because it's wrong for you not to ask people. And I should have made that an education moment for him. But, those are just the hurdles and the things that we learn, and we learn from those things because they're going to happen to everybody.
Well, but Kylie, at the same time, if you're receiving all of this pleasure and being like, hey, can I have a moment right now? Sir, I don't want your dick in my mouth. But I think making this is why I feel like for me, I haven't been and I'm being totally shameless right now with this admission. I haven't felt comfortable enough within myself because going into my partnership, like I feel comfortable enough to go to a sex club or sex party with my partner. However, I feel like what I want to experience, I get too fucking scared to be real with people because I don't want to not people please, which is why I never put myself into that situation. However, it's so easy for me to like, no. And especially if someone's not if that wasn't a forceful thing, they came up, right? I mean, it was a bit forceful, and you to be he hopefully read your body reaction and wasn't like taking it to another level of force. However, it is difficult to stay in that realm of I'm trying to honor my boundaries and I don't want to make this situation totally fucked right now because I'm having fun. I'm getting my pussy licked. I'm enjoying myself, yet this dude is making it weird. So are there nonverbal cues that you can do in these situations that maybe ease off the, hey, can I just talk about my boundaries right now? Because that I would be like, I'm not even fucking horny anymore. I want to fucking leave. Red light, red light, red light. Yeah, I love getting my pussy licked because this chick is doing a great job. Like that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I mean, there definitely are nonverbal cues where you can just be like,
no,
like that's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of just all depends. And that's why a lot of times, like, I enjoy being with couples who I've already been with in the past because like they know my cues and they know what's, to an extent. I mean, just because we've played in the past doesn't mean that that's consent for next time, but they still they get me, they get my cues, they get my partner's cues. They know when something's wrong and so that's why I think I tend to go back to people who I've played with in the past. And I don't really love bringing in new people as much as I should,
mm-hmm.
or as much as I did in the beginning. Like in the beginning, it was just like, I fucked anything that walked, right? Like, because I was so excited. I was like this like chihuahua, I was like, oh my God, I can have sex with all these women and all these men and have all these orgies. And then now that I've been doing it for so long, I realized like I enjoy sex with my partner so much. Like, honestly, no one else fucks me as good as him. I mean, so even if I just do that at the sex club with him, I'm happy because I know that I'm going to have an orgasm. He's going to have an orgasm. And then you don't have any of that weird awkwardness, right? Of like, can the guy's dick get hard? Is it going to get soft in a condom? Because those things happen. Those are more hurdles that you have to go through. And a lot of these guys are like anxious and they're like, why isn't my dick getting hard? And then also like they saw me on TikTok and they've been following me for 2 years on TikTok and like their dick can't get hard because I intimidate them. So like I'm left not very happy,
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of hurdles.
That's when what we call it, soft swapping, just all the external stuff. You don't even need a hard dick for that one or a hard clit, but you need arousal, you need consent. And just says for me as someone who has engaged in some group sex environments, some of the best ones have been with sex positive people like you're talking about. And they're not always people I've played with before, right? But they're people that are really well educated in sex positivity, whether they work in the field or they've been going to a lot of sex parties and they're already really, really secure in that. I've had these experiences at Sex Geek summer camp with a whole bunch of other sex geeks where I knew a dick was not about to find his way in my mouth without talking to me first. In fact, a hand was not even going to go near my pussy over my pants without talking to me about it first. But these are highly educated people, meaning educated in this realm. So I'm not saying you're uneducated if you're, I'm not criticizing people who are uneducated about sex positivity and conversations around consent and how important every single little move is with new bodies that you don't already have an agreement with. So yeah, I like that. And I like the piece that you said about learning, right? Like I've had, and I'm sure April can attest to, like, we've had so many negative sex experiences that we ourselves we're not our best selves or didn't take care of ourselves or speak up, and I had to learn from it. And so that's just part of the whole journey. So
that's a good point. That's why I asked about the people pleasing, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll just do this because I'm already in this situation. And there are folks out there, but then I would lose. Yeah. And that's why I think that having the wherewithal and to know that you can say no, and you can have nonverbal cues in these places. If you're interested in swinging, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to have a dick in your mouth, even if some dude has it next to you. You don't have to eat a pussy, even if your partner wants your head next to this person's pussy. You don't have to do any of those things. If it doesn't feel good for you, you can opt out. And that's important to know.
One of the things that I've learned is that I found my voice. I was a huge people pleaser, and a lot of the women specifically that I have met in the lifestyle, they've said the same thing. Like, this really helped me. Being a part of this really helped me find my voice and find what my boundaries really were. Like growing up and being, young, like I didn't know what my boundaries were. I didn't know like how to handle all of that. And now that I've been in the lifestyle, I found my boundaries and I found what feels good and what doesn't feel good and what I'm willing to consent to.
Yeah, I really wish we got that lesson when we were younger. Oh my God, it would have saved me so many shitty sexual experiences. But also, that's how I ended up learning things. And that's probably why we have this podcast. And I also just love what the thing you said way earlier, that like in April, you were just commenting on that you can go to, if you want to dip your toes into these environments, you don't have to play with anyone. You could be a voyeur, an exhibitionist, or, and I've seen that at sex parties, people that just want community of other sex positive people, and they're not trying to have sex with anyone. And I think that's awesome that, if that's your jam, that's invited. I want to take just a quick switch before we end the show, because I know that you are also identifying as a sex worker, and we love sex workers. So what is your offering as a sex worker? What does this entail? How have you developed your profession uniquely to you as a sex worker?
So I do OnlyFans, and I'm also a stripper. So basically what I've done is I've completely changed, how sex work is in the environment. Like on OnlyFans, all of my content is swinger related. And then when I'm in the club and as a stripper, and I don't work in like a full service club. So it's just, an entertainment, but that's part of the entertainment, is the sex education that I give a lot of couples and a lot of like just men in general who come in there and they're like, I really wish I could get my wife to do this, or, how do I talk to my wife, or how do I talk to my partner? So that's kind of what sets me apart in the sex work industry, is that I've used my sex positivity and my knowledge and education about, sex. And I've used that to my advantage, to help people. And that's why I love going to work every day. And I love my job every day, because I know at the end of the day, I'm helping people. I'm entertaining them and I'm making them feel good, and they're enjoying the content, whether that be in person or online, that I'm giving to them.
I absolutely love both of those trajectories of what you're feeling like with sex work. I don't consider sex work anything negative ever. Like I never have, even when it wasn't accepted, when people were like, they're a prostitute, they're a hooker. I was like, what's wrong with that? And now it's a little bit more, there's like a movement for people being like, sex work, yay. But I'm so happy that there can be an honoring system of people honoring what they're doing when it's consensual. When it's not consensual, it's a whole fucking different thing. Totally. And human trafficking, we don't even ever talk about that.
We've had episodes on it.
But we don't talk about that separate, in terms of sex work that is consented. And this is consensual sex work. But also when it comes to stripping, like I love going to strip clubs. I love talking to strippers. Really fun at a strip club. I just went to one in Portland, and I'm like, dude, I talked to the strippers, and it was funny because the last strip club I was at in Portland, you could only give them $2 bills, which I thought was genius because there's no dollar bills. And all the strippers were like, you can't touch, like we had, they said before you walked in, you can't touch the strippers. I love that because that doesn't happen everywhere you go. And the strippers were coming up to me like, can I touch you? I was like, sure. And then they were like, we're burying my head into their body. And then I was like, but I didn't actually consent to all of this shit that you're doing to me. I'm fine with it because this is cool and you're hot as fuck. But I was like, I love, and because I have such an admiration for that job, because I think it's just power. There's so much power in it. And I'm like, how amazing is it to get money from just like doing like some action? Anyway, I fucking love
or dancing and moving your body and the way that you went in the power behind it. Totally. Yeah. If you ever want like your best friend to go, like your best stripper friend, or not stripper friend, well, you'd probably be awesome too, Kylie, but bring April with you to the strip club. It's a really good time.
Oh, they always, all the strippers are like, are you a dancer? I'm like, no, but I would have been in another life because I don't have that much confidence. Like I couldn't work.
She would be great.
have confidence, but I don't have that much confidence. Like I have so much respect for that art. It's an art to me.
It's in more than one way. Is it an art? Like I've developed, a lot of people, once they get into stripping, they're like, I hate men. Men suck. They're terrible. I actually have more of I would say, respect for men, because you would think that like men, they are visual creatures, but that's not all they care about. They are more so looking for that personality, that entertainment, that talking, that connection. And I respect that about men. And I think that that's a huge reason why I love my job, is because I connect with people and I'm more of a therapist than anything. I seriously, like I'm a therapist, and it can be really emotionally draining. So it takes a lot out of you, but it's very rewarding if you allow it to be rewarding.
I always ask all the dancers, what do you want to do? While they're dancing, while I'm getting my boobs in, or their boobs in my face, I'm like, what do you want to do? And they're like, I'm like motorboating them. and they're like, oh, I'm studying law, or, oh, I'm going to be a therapist, or, oh, I'm going into nursing. I'm like, you're going to be great at whatever you do because you're understanding people on another level. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I love talking to folks that are in an alternative community that doesn't have to be alternative, because I think a lot of folks are curious about this. And we've learned a lot about sex parties, and we have had other swingers as couples on the show, but we've never talked to someone from your perspective. So thank you, Kylie, for sharing that what you have to our listeners and what you're offering. And I hope that you continue to shine your light on all of the folks out there that deserve to have your light shown on them. And Amy, I love you, even though you're in Hawaii and we're not next to each other. I love you always and forever.
Hanging out with a whole bunch of upside down pineapples over here.
He's getting that pineapple train on. How can people find you? Can they work with you, Kylie, on personal level, or if they want to find your work, and also any lifestyle community information, if you have that you can share with folks that are listening, that would be great.
So I am on TikTok. So I'm Sexy Swinger Chick without the K. Be careful though, because I lose my accounts a lot. So,
oh yeah, we had that happen. We know that's like lame.
So, but I'll always be on there. You'll always be able to find me. They can't keep a good girl down, but you can find me on Instagram, Sexy Swinger Chick 1991, again without the K. And then you can find everything on my website. So it's sexyswingerchick.net. On there is links to different, lifestyle communities. There's blogs on how to get into the lifestyle. And, our biggest community is we have a Discord. So Discord is kind of like an app that you download, and there are over 18,000 swingers on that app. It's a great community. We have a Facebook group, so Swinger Society. We throw parties, which again are all inclusive to all body types, all ages, and all sexual orientations, and all, identifications for gender. So that's kind of what sets us apart. And yeah, we'd love to see somebody at one of the events, or even if you just want to join the Discord and dip your toes into it and learn some things.
And all this will be in our show notes too, all the links and information. So if you don't remember all of this, you can find it in the show notes wherever you're listening.
I love that you don't have to be some old white hetero couple to swing. I think that's really cool. I think that for anyone out there that's interested, and you don't have to be hetero, you have to have a vulva and a penis. So I don't know. Anyone out there, if you're interested in swinging,
Swing it
Maybe
up.
you can join me. Yeah, swing it up. Go on Discord. Shameless Sex also has a Discord community if you want to check that out. Amy's doing a lot of fun stuff with our Discord folks and meetups, usually once a month. So check us out on Discord as well. Check out Kylie and all of her offerings. You can go to the show notes. For all of our listeners out there, one more invitation. I'm just going to do one. Go and rate us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. We love those. Also, Spotify. I just looked at our Spotify reviews today, and people are really fucked on there. So I love you, people. But we have 3.7 stars, which is not accurate. We're giving our lives and our souls, and we're opening ourselves up and not telling you should do anything. All we're doing is telling you the tools that are out there for you. So to people that don't like us, that's cool. Don't listen to us. But if you do love us and you're on Spotify, give us 5 stars. You don't have to write a big review, but please help people rate us better. 3.7 stars is fucking whack. And this is what I'm doing is not 3.7 stars worth.
Oh,
what
no.
Amy's doing is not. So that really bums me out, and don't help me be more sad. I want to be happy because I love all of you so much. So I just wanted to say that because I saw that literally 25 minutes ago.
You give more when you're happy too. So
I do.
Everyone ends up winning.
And it's free. This is free. Yes, you bought Spotify, but this is a free tool for you. And we offer it on Spotify because we want to. So that's free for you because we want to. Amy and I want to. So that's the last piece. That's all I'm going to say. And I do love each and every one of you diehard Shameless Sex fans or new to Shameless Sex. We absolutely love you. And I think we'll see you next Tuesday. And if not, fucking tune in on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. But we'll see you next Tuesday, y'all. Ciao for now.